Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Hello,
I'm Nick,
I'm Matt.
and welcome back to Nick and Matt's Everyday English Corner, episode 10. 10
Yeah, we're on
episodes.
episode 10 already.
10 episodes. That's, in a way, our kind of first milestone.
Yeah, doing 10 episodes, and it doesn't feel like we started all that long ago either. So being on 10 episodes already is a really big deal.
Not only that, but a lot of the people around us have been super supportive of us even starting this podcast in the first place. And we're actually almost at 100 subscribers. So that's honestly something I did not expect to happen in such a short amount of time. So before we hop into today's topic, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone
Yes.
who tunes in and listens to two American dudes ramble for 20 to 30 minutes about random topics.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. We definitely appreciate it a great deal.
Yeah, and it gives us a lot of motivation going forward to keep making these for anyone who's interested in hearing what native, natural English sounds like. So please continue to enjoy. And without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into today's topic, which we brought up potentially doing in the past. And I figured it was high time to finally do it. Today's topic is going to be Japanese food.
Yes, Japanese food. Because we did American food, so this one was just waiting to happen.
Yeah, it was downright inevitable that we were eventually going to do this as a topic. And I figured doing it for the 10th episode, kind of our first milestone, would be rather appropriate. So, without further ado, Matt, I wanted to go ahead and just kind of put you on the spot here. What would you say are your top three favorite Japanese foods?
Top three Japanese foods. Well, first has got to be sushi. Um, it's miles ahead of any sushi I had in America, so it's amazing.
Hmm.
Second would be imo mochi, which I think is mainly only found in Hokkaido, like potato mochi, and
Yeah, yeah.
I absolutely love it. Anytime that I see it, I immediately buy it. It's just that good. And then third, it's got to be ramen, just because of all the variations you can get, especially miso ramen for me.
Oh,
How about you? Which foods do you like?
well, I was actually about to say, uh, on the topic of ramen, ramen is in my top three. It's my second favorite as a spoiler. My first favorite is what they call kaisendon. It's these
Um,
seafood bowls filled with fish, all other types of sea life. You can get really creative with the ingredients that go into these bowls. A lot of the times, on top of like salmon and tuna, you also have like octopus, sometimes eel, and it's just so delicious. Second is ramen for me, and then third is this really strange dish called okonomiyaki, which
oh,
is
yes.
like it's like a giant pizza that's made with pasta, a whole bunch of sauce, and a weird assortment of vegetables that are all just compiled together. And it sounds really weird, but it's so delicious.
Absolutely. If you're looking for like a unique food experience in Japan, that's one of the first things you should get. Just because the way it's made, the way you eat it is definitely very unique.
Yeah, and there's different variations of
Mm.
okonomiyaki too. The most famous one being from Hiroshima, and they actually call it Hiroshima yaki because
Ah,
it's quite different from the standard dish, but I've only had it twice, so trying to explain the exact specifics is not exactly something I have at the top of my head at the moment. But
Mm.
I do prefer the Hiroshima version more from what I remember from the last time I ate it.
And that's the best part is different areas have their own specializations. So you get to find like new ways something is made and possibly get a new favorite food.
Yeah, there's so many different variations of, well, basically any Japanese food that you could think of. Of course, the elephant in the room here being the aforementioned ramen. Ramen probably has as many different flavors as there are stars in the sky. There are so
Yeah.
many different types of ramen.
That and they have so many different ingredients. Some have their own special way of making it. Like the broth itself is like some big trade secret for some places. So it's really interesting just to try out different ramen in different cities.
Yeah, and what often ends up happening is if you talk to a Japanese person and tell them that your favorite food is ramen, the next question they ask you is, "Oh, what type of ramen?"
Yes.
And from what I understand, there are four main types of ramen. You have tonkotsu, which is like a pork-based broth. It's like a pork bone
Hmm.
broth, and it's my
Yeah,
personal favorite. And then you have shoyu, which is soy sauce
mm,
based.
yes.
There's
I
also
think shoyu is the most popular overall.
yeah, and it gets used a lot in many different places. Then there's miso, which is actually the Sapporo specialty for those of us
Yes.
that live up in Hokkaido. And then the final one, oh, what was it again? I completely forgot.
Um,
Oh shoot,
the
what was it?
so there's yeah, shoyu, tonkatsu, and let's see, shio. Shio
Shio,
is salt
Shio, Shio.
ramen.
Yes, 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 yes. So those are the four main ones, and every person that you'll talk to will have a different taste, kind of like a personal favorite that they have. So ramen is a really, really fun topic to get into because it in
Absolutely.
itself is a rabbit hole that you could go down for quite some time.
Absolutely. There's so many different variations. And speaking of just having different variations, you remember when we went to Kushiro and we got to go to Washo Market, and their specialty there was the katadon, where you got the bowl of rice and you picked every kind of fish that you wanted and put it in the bowl.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. That especially because the kaisendon is my favorite food, and that market, essentially, from what I remember, is you line up in a line with a bowl of rice that you buy for about 300 yen, and then once you're in the line, you can choose specifically which ingredients you want in your bowl. So you get to fully customize this seafood dish to your liking in any way you want. And some of the ingredients were insane.
Absolutely. I think the biggest or the most unique one was the was it Kujira Shinzo, so whale heart.
Yeah, yeah, that was a first time for me. And I love exotic food or just strange things in general. I love trying out eating new stuff. So I was surprised at actually how delicious it was, funny enough. But yeah, that's just something you can buy at a random seafood market in a port city.
Absolutely. And I believe they're the only ones that use that name is Katedon. So only like Kushiro City's Washo Market uses that name for it.
Huh. So that kind of goes back to the point that depending on where you go in Japan, even to like less major cities or cities that aren't as well known, these cities still have like their famous dish. And in the case of Kushiro, it's, well, it would be the famous kattedon, which I believe directly translates to kind of like your personal favorite dish, or like kind of picking ingredients to your
Mm.
liking and creating a dish. If you
Yeah, like
go, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh no, that yeah, I think someone explained to me that it translated to like as you wish bowl.
Yeah. So you have that, and then if you go a little bit further east to like Obihiro, and this is just in
Mm.
Hokkaido, mind you. If you go a little bit further, I'm sorry, west. If you go a little bit further west to Obihiro, they have their famous butadon, or pork bowls, which is a whole nother brand of food that we could get into. These beef bowls, and then you go even further west to Sapporo, and of course you have the famous Sapporo miso ramen, Genghis Khan. It's just like a massive platter of meat that you roast, and it's combined with a whole bunch of different vegetables. Absolutely delicious, mouth-watering stuff.
Absolutely. I've only eaten there once, but it was so delicious that it's somewhere I definitely want to go once more.
Yeah, and the crazy thing was we found that place on accident. That was the funniest thing, is we weren't even planning to eat Genghis Khan that day. It just ended up happening, and I'm glad it did, because my God, I want to eat that again.
Exactly. Yeah, we stumbled across it and well, happy accidents happen.
Yeah, but other parts of Japan are like, when you think of a certain region in Japan, there's usually like a certain food that is associated with that region. Now, just to name a few, when I think of, for example, Osaka, I always think of takoyaki, and I'm sure a lot of other people do as well. Takoyaki are like they're like these little balls that are shaped out of like some sort of batter, but on the inside
Yeah,
there's an octopus, which is taco in Japanese, and it's one of the chewiest foods I've ever eaten. But because of the sauce that's on top, absolutely delicious.
absolutely. I believe like the name that gets translated to English is octopus balls, which is a weird name, but it is very direct.
Yeah, well, it gets the meaning across, and again, you can't go wrong with them. They're cheap, they're yummy, and they fill you up real quick.
Absolutely. And they make a really good street food, which I think is how they're normally sold in Osaka. So you can buy them off the street, walk off to the side, enjoy it for a moment, and then continue walking. And they're just perfect for that.
Yeah, they're usually sold in these like six packs, and you're absolutely right. Osaka is very famous for its street markets, and you'll have these people who've probably been making takoyaki for like 20, 30 years, so they have it completely down to a science, and they'll whip up a few of these, well, octopus balls for you in probably about less than 30 seconds, and they look like robots making this food, because they've done it for so long, so they just know how to get it done. And of course, it's delicious because, again, that is the place to go if you want to eat that food.
Mm. So in this case, I'll have to ask you, you've definitely eaten a lot of different Japanese food, and so have I, of course,
Hmm.
but What is something you still want to eat that you have not yet?
Something I want to eat that I have not eaten yet. Oh, I need to think about that. I might have to get back to you because I think I've eaten most of the stuff that we would consider famous throughout Japan. Let me see.
There's a few
Oh, there
things
is
for
one.
me.
There is one. There is
Hmm.
one that I think we're both thinking of actually. Um, I have not had the extremely well, it's probably more infamous than it is famous, but I have not yet had the poisonous pufferfish, the fugu.
Oh, absolutely. Fugu, yes.
Fugu.
I think it's known pretty well in the world that you can eat fugu uh, in Japan, where it's illegal almost everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, the I think the only reason it's allowed, well, here is for two reasons. One, because this is the country of its origin, and two, the chefs here probably undergo the most rigorous training in the entire world in order to prepare that dish, since, well, it's
Oh.
poisonous.
Yes. Which it reminds me of a story. I have a friend who lives in Japan, and he said he had fugu when he was a kid, and that his dad caught it and made it for him. So my first question was, "Oh, so your dad is a chef?" And he's like, "Oh, no, he's not a chef."
Huh?
And so I had to think for a moment. I thought, "Oh, so he's a fisherman." Because for me, it made sense that an experienced fisherman would know how to make fugu.
Right.
He said, "No, he's not a fisherman either." Uh, so from what I understood from the story is this guy's dad caught a pufferfish and without any professional experience cooked like basically cut it up and served it to his kid.
That's terrifying. I
Right?
assume he's still fine, considering the fact that he told you
Yeah.
that story, but
He said it was delicious and he's fine,
I
but
you know, sometimes you just get lucky. But there is a very real risk that comes with eating that fish. But at the same time, I can't ignore the stories of people who say that it's a really, really delicious dish. So
absolutely.
the if there's anywhere I would eat it, it's in the country that originally created the dish in the first place.
Now, another food that I want to try, and this is one that would actually terrify most people just to even think about eating, is one called shiriko. Have you heard of that one first?
I actually haven't. Can you elaborate a bit on that? I'm very curious.
So it uses the kanji for white and child for shiriko. Uh,
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
and it specifically is like the milts or the sperm sacs of like male fish is what it is.
Interesting.
And it is like considered a delicacy in Japan a lot. Most Japanese probably have not eaten it, but it's one of those things that you could get in an izakaya and you either love it or hate it.
Do you know how much a single serving of that would cost? Because that sounds like one of those like seafoods that would just run up thousands of yen.
Not much at all.
Really?
It's something that you can buy at a izakaya for the regular price of everything else, as
Huh.
far as I understand.
They probably have them around here, I would imagine. There's a lot of seafood near us, so I can't imagine it would be too hard to try. But yeah, please take me with you if you find a place that has
If I
that,
find the
because
place,
yeah, I'm very curious, and you know how much I love seafood. So
absolutely. So if we find it, we'll eat it together for the first time.
nice. Um, yeah, because seafood in particular is just it's pretty expensive, even when you consider the fact that Japan has become quite a big tourist destination because of the
Mm.
good conversion rate. seafood in Japan is still decently pricey, I would say, even as an American who came here with the good conversion rate on the dollar. Those seafood bowls can add up price
They
wise.
can add up, especially if you have any eel, any unagi in it, because right now it's very expensive to have any eel.
Yeah, eel is probably eel and crab are probably the most expensive seafoods right now, from what I can remember off the top of my head. But other than that, it's actually not too bad. But the foods that are considered delicacies definitely add up.
Absolutely. But that's just things that you would eat on special occasions. Like for me and you, going out to eat yakiniku is like a special occasion sort of event.
Ah,
Anybody who could
yes.
eat that every week has got a lot of money.
Yeah. I try to keep stuff like yakiniku to a like a once a month thing, if even that, maybe like once every 2 months, because again, the price on that does get a bit hefty, but good lord, the taste of that meat when it's grilled and just the way it melts in your mouth is sublime.
Absolutely. And it's definitely something I've been satisfied with every time that I've gone. So the next time I go, which will actually be this week, I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going with you. Uh, Now we are over 20 minutes here, so I would like to wrap this up soon. But before we go, there's one final food that I really want to talk about, because every time I talk to a Japanese person and they ask me, what Japanese food do you like? I usually answer, oh, I can eat just about anything. I love
Mhm.
Japanese food that much. But there's one food that they always bring up and say, oh, how about this? And that food is natto, or as
Ah,
we would say in English, fermented beans.
yes. And I think that's the food that I think is well known for you either love it or you hate it. There's not really an in between.
You you either there's three options actually. You love it, you hate it, or you slowly grow to love it over the time that you're in Japan, is what I've heard. Now, I'm currently in the camp of I'm not a big fan of it, but I feel like the more I would eat it, the more I would get used to it. But see, the thing is, I'm actually perfectly fine with the taste. There's two things for me. One is the smell. It is absolutely vile. That smell is. Do not go anywhere near that food with your nose for the first time. Or if you do, exercise great caution, because you will probably recoil from the smell of those beans. But the other is the texture and the way it like kind of stretches. There's like a string that kind of comes off of it, and it feels really gross to me when I'm eating it, because I have like this sticky spider web looking string kind of just hanging out of my mouth, and I feel like I can't clean it up. It doesn't feel good to eat.
I've heard similar. The two issues that most people have told me about it is the smell and the texture are both the most difficult parts of it.
Yeah. So that sums that up. How are you with natto? Have you had it yet?
I have not. So it's on the list of things I want to try, and I don't want the first natto I eat be from the supermarket. So I've been waiting to eat it at a restaurant or something like that first.
Oh, well, the chance will definitely come, and we're not in any rush. But yeah, I was gonna say, if you ever do want to eat it, you can get it for 70 yen at any supermarket. And from what I hear, it's very, very good for you. It is like an absolutely insane superfood with the amount of nutrients packed into it.
I've heard it's like the perfect breakfast food.
Yeah, which is a shame that I don't like it, but hey, who knows? Maybe I'll get used to it over time, just like the third type of person that I described in my example earlier.
Absolutely.
So, I think we talked about a lot of different foods here. So, we are coming up past the 25-minute mark. So, I think we will
Okay.
call it here because once again, once we start talking about food, it is very difficult to get us to shut up. But
One of the easiest subjects to talk about.
yeah, we could go on forever, but who knows? Maybe we can make a part two later. But I think that'll do it for us here today. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in, and I'm really looking forward to hitting that 100 subscriber mark with all of you. It means a lot from the bottom of both our hearts, and here's to many more episodes going forward. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.